greed or excessive desire is a major cause of suffering. Many people spend their lives chasing after money and fame, but the more they achieve, the more they feel deprived. The Buddha taught, if we know enough, we will always feel satisfied. On the contrary, when greed is great, everything becomes insufficient. Think of a friend or colleague who always wants more, constantly looking for a better job, more money, and a more luxurious life. But the more they try, the more pressure, anxiety, and insecurity they feel. Instead of being satisfied with what they have, their limitless greed has caused them to live in a state of never feeling satisfied. We ourselves can find ourselves feeling insecure when we constantly compare ourselves to others, always wanting more to feel worthy. But does what we desire really bring happiness, or is it just a vicious cycle with no way out? Anger, or rage, is a smoldering fire that destroys our own souls. When we are angry with someone, we often do not know that we are the ones who suffer the most. Buddha once taught, anger is burning yourself. It is the poison you drink, but expect others to suffer. About anger in life. For example, in a relationship, you may have felt angry and frustrated when someone did not do as you wanted or treated you unfairly. You may feel anger rising and want to react immediately. But then, do you really feel satisfied when you retaliate, or do you just feel more empty inside? Learn to recognize anger. Find ways to forgive not for others, but for yourself. Try to think that anger is like a fire that burns all joy, and only when you forgive can you find true liberation. Ignorance or ignorance makes us live in ignorance and cling to illusions. Ignorance is when we are not aware of ourselves, our desires and emotions, but let them control us. People who are infatuated often confuse reality with illusion, unable to see the true nature of the world around them. In Buddhism, there is a story about a man who spent his whole life pursuing wealth and power, and finally, when facing death, he realized that everything he had tried to achieve was just vanity. The only thing left was emptiness, because he had forgotten spiritual values and compassion all his life. When we understand that ignorance is the root of ignorance, we can begin the journey to enlightenment by being aware of all our emotions and actions, not letting the ego lead us. Letting go does not mean giving up everything, but freeing the mind from the bonds of greed, anger, and delusion. When we know how to let go, we are no longer pressured by unnecessary desires and can live peacefully and serenely. Let's start with the smallest things in life. Let go of regrets, resentments, or dissatisfactions in our hearts. When the mind is purified, we will easily find joy in the simplest things. A friend once told me that after experiencing many losses and broken hearts, instead of holding on, they decided to let go. They no longer pursue things that do not belong to them and focus on the present. That helps them live peacefully and easily accept everything that comes to them gently. Applying Buddha's teachings to life helps us not only be at peace, but also become people who know how to live a meaningful life. Practicing meditation, letting go of greed, anger, ignorance, and living with compassion will help us see life as truly gentle. In moments of anger, stop for a few seconds to think. Do not react hastily. Think about the Buddha's teachings on impermanence, that everything will pass, anger will disappear. Remember that true peace comes from within. The Buddha pointed out that when greed, anger, and delusion are no longer in control, we can truly have peace. Happiness is not about how much we have, but how relaxed our mind can be. Live with compassion and accept everything as it is. Every day is an opportunity to cultivate the soul, and as long as we are aware of each thought and action, happiness will come naturally. As the Buddha said, there is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. Ask yourself, Are you truly living happily, or are you just existing? Let this video be the beginning of a new journey, a journey to find yourself and find happiness from within. Greed, the root of loss and suffering. Insatiable ambition and imbalance in life. One of the common manifestations of greed is insatiable ambition, the desire to control and possess more. For some people, greed seems to have no end. When they achieve something, they immediately want to achieve more, never feeling satisfied. This endless desire for success and wealth not only takes us away from the core values of life, but also causes imbalance in physical and mental health. There are many people who are so obsessed with making money that they forget their family, friends, and their own health. For example, there are people who work hard day and night, sacrificing time for their family just to achieve a stable career. But by the time they achieve it, their health has deteriorated, their family has fallen apart, and they realize that what they have been pursuing for so long is just an illusion. They trade everything for a happiness that, in the end, they cannot enjoy. Buddha taught that he who knows enough is always happy. Understanding your limits, realizing that everything you may need for a fulfilling life is right in front of you, is the way to help people escape the vicious cycle of greed. In your daily life, try to practice gratitude. Every morning when you wake up, take a little time to think about the good things you have. Not everyone has enough health, love, or a place to return to like you. When you know how to be satisfied with what you have, you will feel your soul relieved and no longer pressured by endless desires. Anger, the root of anger and suffering. Anger and the deep hurt in the soul. Anger is one of the three greatest poisons in the soul. When anger arises, we not only hurt ourselves, but also hurt those around us. Anger often erupts in situations where we feel injustice, disappointment, or hurt. Many people do not realize that anger, if not controlled, will spread like a fire, destroying even the most stable relationships. A friend recounted that during an argument with his wife, he said bitter words because he was too angry. Afterwards, although he regretted and apologized, his wife was always haunted by those words, and their relationship gradually became cold. Anger only lasts for a moment, but the consequences can be forever. The Buddha pointed out that anger is the fire that burns away merit. A wise person will know how to extinguish anger when it is still budding, instead of letting it grow into a storm in the soul. When we forgive and do not hold on to anger, we not only free others, but also free ourselves. Practice anger control by practicing meditation or deep breathing whenever you feel your mind is agitated. One effective way to extinguish anger is to ask yourself, is this anger really important enough to make me lose my peace? When you look at things with compassion, you will see that there are very few things worth getting angry about. Delusion, ignorance, and losing yourself. Delusion and blindness. Indecisions. Delusion blinds us to the true values of life. When we are led by delusion, we often get caught up in frivolous things, such as fame, power, and desire. These things, although they bring temporary joy, when deeply immersed, will only lead to loss and disappointment. There is a story about a rich young man who, because of his blind pursuit of power and money, realized at the end of his life, when he was no longer healthy, that what he had achieved was meaningless. He missed the opportunity to find true joy and happiness from simple things like family, friends, and peace of mind. The Buddha taught that when the mind is enlightened, we will no longer run after temporary things. Instead of looking for happiness outside, turn inward, recognize and appreciate the true value of yourself and the people around you. To overcome ignorance, practice introspection. Ask yourself about what you really need and what is meaningful. Don't let yourself get caught up in superficial things, but learn to find satisfaction and meaning in simple, genuine things. Letting go is not giving up everything or becoming indifferent to life. Letting go is letting go of worries, sadness, and what we cannot control to make the mind lighter and freer. Remember, true happiness is not how many things you have, but how light and peaceful your heart can be. A woman lost a loved one. She was very sad, unable to overcome the sadness and move on. But then when she learned to let go, accepting that death is a part of life, she gradually found peace in her heart and continued to live with gratitude. Buddha taught that everything in life is impermanent. Letting go is accepting the fact that nothing lasts forever and everything has a reason to come and go. When we understand and accept this, we will no longer be bound and easily feel peace. Learn to let go by living in the present moment. Do not obsess over the past or worry about the future. Enjoy the moments right now and do not cling to things that no longer belong to you. Buddhism is not something too far away or complicated. It is the values and methods of living that we can apply every day to live a more peaceful and meaningful life. Practice compassion. Be willing to help others. Live with gratitude and know how to share joy with others. At work, instead of competing and trying to bring others down, learn to work together, recognize the abilities of others, and progress together. In the family, always spend time with your loved ones. Do not let work and calculations obscure the importance of the people you love. Every day, take some time to reflect on the positive things that have happened. When your mind is calm and clear, you will find peace in your heart and easily face all the challenges in life. Finally, remember that true peace does not come from external things, but from within us. When we know how to let go and live with compassion, the mind will naturally be calm and light. It is a long journey, but also the most beautiful journey we can take in this life. Do not forget that happiness is not something we achieve in the end, but how we live each day with gratitude and peace. As the Buddha said, the path to happiness is the path we find ourselves. To live a happy and peaceful life, we can apply the teachings of Buddhism to every moment of our lives. Buddhism is not a lofty theory, but very close values, helping us to face all challenges in life more gently and peacefully. By living with compassion, we learn to love and understand others. With wisdom, we know how to distinguish right from wrong and do good. Look at the way we treat people around us, especially our loved ones. Compassion is not only pity, but also understanding and tolerance. When someone does something wrong, instead of judging or getting angry, ask yourself if there is a reason for them to behave that way. Maybe they are also suffering from their own pressures and do not know how to release them. A friend of mine once told me that he often disagreed with his father because of generational differences. However, when he understood that his father also had his own worries and had gone through many hardships to raise him, he learned to be patient and listen to his father more. Thanks to that, the relationship between father and son became closer and warmer. Wisdom is not only knowledge, but also the ability to perceive things deeply and clearly. Correct perception of the nature of life will help us not get caught up in frivolous things or dissatisfaction. We often worry about the future or regret the past, forgetting that the present moment is the most important thing. Take at least a few minutes every day to contemplate your mind. Ask yourself what is really important. Don't let yourself get caught up in trivial things or worry unnecessarily. When the mind is purified, everything will become clearer and more peaceful. In life, there are many things that we cannot control, such as other people's emotions, living conditions, or unwanted events. However, what we can do is choose how we react. Letting go is not giving up, but rather a way to not be attached to things that cannot be changed. When we know how to let go, our hearts will no longer be troubled, and we will easily accept life as it is. A person once shared that she was very sad when she lost the job she loved. However, when she realized that losing this job was an opportunity for her to find a new path, life became easier. She found joy and peace in simple things that she had previously overlooked. The Buddha emphasized the impermanence of everything in life. Life changes constantly, and accepting change will help us not be caught up in the cycle of suffering. When we let go of psychological attachments, our hearts will be at peace, no longer afraid or worried. To practice letting go every day, remember that everything in this world is temporary. All successes, failures, joys, and sorrows will pass. When we no longer cling, we will realize that life is truly simple and ordinary. In the end, true happiness and peace do not come from external things, but from within our own souls. When greed, anger, and ignorance no longer dominate, we will realize that peace is very natural. Buddha once taught that when we purify our minds, everything we do will bring joy and peace to ourselves and others. A monk once said that while meditating in a deserted mountain forest, he felt an immense peace. For him, happiness does not lie in how much he owns, but in how light and peaceful his heart can be. He felt everything around him, from the chirping of birds to the blowing of the wind, and found that everything was beautiful and peaceful when his mind was pure. Start your journey to peace by respecting yourself and taking the time to love yourself. When we accept our flaws and learn to live in harmony with them, our souls will gradually become peaceful. Remember, everyone has their own path, and true peace only comes when we learn to be content with ourselves. Every day, practice gratitude and contentment. Recognize what you have, from health, family, to small joys. When you know how to appreciate every little thing, life will become more meaningful and precious. Happiness is not a destination, but a journey that we go through every day. Buddha left humanity a valuable message about letting go, compassion, and wisdom. When we practice these teachings, we not only find happiness, but can also spread peace to everyone around us. There is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. Let this journey become a part of life, a journey that each of us can walk with a light heart and a peaceful mind. One of the great lessons from Buddhism is to find yourself, to live true to your core values. Many of us tend to run after social standards, trying to achieve what others consider success, but then feel empty and lost. That is because we are not living true to ourselves, but only chasing after external models. There was a young man who, after many years working in the financial industry to earn money and assert himself, decided to leave everything behind to return to his hometown and open a small farm. At first, everyone thought he was crazy for giving up a high-paying job, but he found true joy and meaning in living simply, close to nature, something he had longed for, but forgotten. Buddha taught that happiness comes from knowing who you really are, not needing to please everyone. When we live true to ourselves, our hearts will be free, no longer afraid of being judged or judged. Take time to reflect on the things you truly value and want to achieve in life. Don't let other people's judgments affect your journey. When you live true to yourself, you will not only feel happy, but also spread that happiness to those around you. In Buddhism, love is not just a feeling, but also a core part of practice. Love here is not only directed towards loved ones, but also includes compassion for all living beings. When we know how to love and be grateful, we are sowing the seeds of happiness in our own souls. An old lady in a small village brought food to the stray dogs around the village every day. She shared that it was love that helped her overcome the lonely days after her children and grandchildren moved away. She didn't have much, but always shared what she had with those in need of love. The Buddha once said, "Every act of compassion has the power to change our own lives and the lives of others." When we live with compassion, the world around us becomes better and more meaningful. Practice compassion in small ways, such as helping others, loving animals, and appreciating the environment. When you are grateful for every little thing, your soul will be nourished by peace and happiness. Life cannot avoid suffering, but Buddhism teaches that suffering is not an enemy, but a part of the journey of life. Instead of avoiding suffering, learn to face and transform it. Every challenge in life is an opportunity for us to practice and become stronger. There is a story about a man who lost everything after a major event. Instead of being sad and depressed, he decided to learn to accept and let go of the past, focusing on rebuilding his life from scratch. Thanks to that, he not only overcame difficulties, but also became stronger and more confident. The Buddha once said, "Without suffering, there is no happiness." Through suffering, we learn to appreciate peaceful moments. It is also a way for us to train our souls and find deep meaning in life. When facing difficulties, remind yourself that this is an opportunity to practice and grow. Do not be afraid or discouraged, because suffering is a great teacher, helping us understand life and ourselves better. At the end of this journey, we realize that happiness and peace are not luxuries or complicated things. They lie right in our every action, every thought and emotion. The Buddha pointed out that when we know how to let go, live with compassion, understand the nature of impermanence, we will find happiness in every moment of life. Let this video not only be a lesson, but also the beginning of a new journey, a journey to find ourselves, live sincerely with our own values, and bring joy and happiness to ourselves and everyone around us. Ask yourself, am I living up to my true values? If the answer is no, start now, practicing each small lesson to gradually move towards a life of true peace and happiness. Buddhism teaches that time is extremely precious, but many people do not realize this. We often miss the present by dwelling on the past or worrying about the future, forgetting that the present moment is the only gift we truly have. The Buddha once said, "Today is our only life." Therefore, to be happy, we need to cherish every present moment and not let worries overwhelm our peace of mind. A mother once said that after many years of being busy with work and finances, she realized that she had missed precious moments with her children. After that, she started spending more time with her family, letting go of worries about the future and enjoying every moment with her loved ones. This has brought her a more peaceful and meaningful life. In every moment, if we know how to be mindful, we will see that life is full and complete right in the present moment. Happiness is not something we have to wait for, but the ability to appreciate what we have at the moment. Start by practicing mindfulness, paying attention to what you are doing instead of letting your mind wander to the past or the future. When you eat, savor the taste. When you talk to someone, listen and understand them. These simple things are the foundation of happiness. Gratitude is one of the most powerful emotions that can bring happiness and peace of mind. The Buddha taught that when we are grateful for what we have, life becomes more meaningful and fulfilling. Gratitude is not only for big things, but also for the small things that we often overlook in daily life, such as the morning sunshine, family meals, or our health. A person once shared that after going through a serious illness, he realized the value of health and the simple joys in life. Before, he never thought that he could be happy just because he had a healthy body. But when he was grateful for every day he lived, he felt that life was full of meaning and happiness. Buddha advised us to practice gratitude even in difficult circumstances, because those challenges are opportunities for us to practice patience and grow. When we are grateful, our minds will become generous, and from there we can accept everything that happens gently. Make it a habit to write down the things you are grateful for every day. Whether it is a small thing, like a cool breeze or a smile from a loved one, all are precious gifts that life brings. Gratitude will help you appreciate life and find peace from deep within your soul. Forgiveness is an important part of the path to happiness and peace. When we do not forgive, our hearts will be filled with resentment and gradually become a burden to ourselves. Buddhism teaches that forgiveness is not only forgiving others, but also forgiving ourselves, so that we can let go of the troubles in our minds. There is a story about a woman who was deeply hurt after being betrayed by her best friend. At first, she lived in hatred and could not be happy. But after understanding that resentment only makes her suffer, she decided to forgive. Thanks to that, she felt lighter, and her life became happy and peaceful. Buddha once said that anger is burning yourself. Forgiveness is a way for us to free ourselves from the fire of anger. When we forgive, we not only free others, but also free ourselves, helping our souls to be at peace. If you find it difficult to forgive, think that holding on to resentment only harms your soul. Take some time to reflect, and gradually you will see that forgiveness is not a weakness, but a strength to overcome suffering. Mindfulness is one of the important practices that help us live deeply and meaningfully. When we live mindfully, we are not caught up in worries or sadness. We will find life become simple, peaceful, and full of joy. A monk recounted that during his days at the monastery, he began to practice mindfulness in every action, from walking to washing dishes. Those seemingly ordinary actions, when done mindfully, became extremely sacred and brought him deep joy. The Buddha taught that living with mindfulness helps us realize the true nature of life, not being controlled by delusions or emotions. When living mindfully, we become free and peaceful. Let's start practicing mindfulness by paying attention to our breathing and daily actions. When you live mindfully, everything will become easier, and life will be full of joy and meaning. At the end of this journey, we realize that happiness is not something too far away. It is the ability to be true to ourselves, to let go, to forgive, to cherish the present, and to live with compassion and wisdom. The Buddha has shown us the path to peace and happiness, and as long as we know how to practice each small step, happiness will always be right next to us. Make this journey of finding happiness a part of your life. Don't wait for something special to make you happy. Live with gratitude and compassion every day. Every day is a new opportunity to find peace and joy in life. Are you truly living a meaningful and peaceful life? If the answer is no, start today. Practice the Buddha's teachings to find the path to true peace